Hey, it's Dom here, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the exact $1 million per month ad strategy that Jeremy Haynes uses himself and uses for his clients to scale them past that 7 figures per month mark. And a quick disclaimer before we do get into this diagram, this is for higher level business owners. This is for people that are at 50K a month, 100K a month or more, and looking to scale to that $1 million per month mark. If you're someone who's barely scraping 10K a month, I'm sorry, but this video is not for you. So now that that's out the way, let's get started. We're going to be covering the benefits of this strategy and why it's better than any other strategy on the market, who should be using this strategy, the budget that you need for this strategy, the exact 4-step process that you need to implement this strategy, and the exact scaling framework that Jeremy himself uses to take people from that 100K a month mark to that $1 million per month mark. So again, just to make it crystal clear, this is not my own strategy, this is Jeremy's strategy. So when it comes to the tornado ad strategy, the reason that we want to use this strategy over anything else is because it reduces our CPL. It generates warmer leads that obviously close faster and it's easier to close them. We have an increased email open rate and click-through rate. We have more organic engagement, followers and DMs, so it helps build out our Instagram profile. We have higher show rates for appointments or webinars, and we improve our sales conversion rates overall. There are 2 types of audience, broadly speaking, that we're going to be looking at. First are warm audiences, so these are people that already know us. Hopefully they already like us and they trust us as well. And then we have cold audiences. So cold audiences are complete strangers. They've never come across our page, or if they have, it was at least a year ago. And the budget that we're probably going to be spending is at minimum 10K a month. So that's $333 a day. You are not willing to spend that amount of money, or you're not able to spend that amount of money, then this strategy is not for you. So when it comes to the implementation, of course, there's a lot that goes into this, but I've broken it down broadly into 4 steps that anyone can copy, even if you've never actually run ads before. First, you need to create what we call custom audiences. So these are audiences based upon Instagram engagement, Facebook page engagement, website visitors, email list audiences, and lead form submissions. And whilst that sounds complicated to set up, it's actually very simple. The website visitors come from the Meta Pixel. These 2 audiences automatically get generated from your Instagram and Facebook accounts. The email list audiences can just be uploaded manually, and lead form submissions are automatically generated by Facebook. Second, we need to create what we call a cold engagement campaign. So this is not optimizing for leads or for conversions, this is optimizing for engagement. So that'll be things like video views, likes, shares, comments, profile visits, etc. So for this campaign, we need to be adding at least 50 short form and long form content pieces into a single ad set. So we group similar content types in the same ad set and then keep filling out ad sets with 50 creators until you're literally out of content on your Instagram or your Facebook page, or even your YouTube videos and your long form that you can repurpose. Again, this is another reason that it's not for beginners, because you're not going to have that much content when you start. You're then going to need to set up your typical targeting of demographics, interests and behaviors, and then of course exclude any warm audiences. So these are the warm audiences that we've already created over here. Once you have the cold campaign set up, you now need to create a parallel warm campaign. So this is basically a mirrored campaign except targeting warm audiences. You have 2 options to do this. First is the quickest but the least effective, is to duplicate your cold ad sets and then simply change the targeting to warm. But the second and the more effective option is to build a hammer them supplement campaign, which is another Jeremy Haynes strategy that I covered in this video down here. So if you're not familiar with that, then I highly suggest you watch that video. We've actually previously set this up for a client that's helped them close multiple 6 figures per month as a result. The 4th and final step is to set up the direct response ad campaigns. So these are your typical campaigns that you're used to seeing, not these kinds of engagement campaigns and the parallel campaign that we've been talking about. Of course, because they're direct response, they're going to be optimized for the desired conversion goal. And we're going to use ad set budget optimization, which involves using a cold ad set and a warm ad set. So we'll create one cold ad set using the same targeting as before and one warm ad set using the same targeting as over here. The reason that we're doing those 2 is because we can now compare the data between the cold and the warm ad sets. This will allow us to determine the effectiveness of our content campaigns. And of course, if you've done it well and your content is good, then your CPA, or cost to acquire a customer, should be significantly lower for your warm ad set. And if it is, then you know that you need to double down on the content and the spend on that content. Now, once we have the tornado ad strategy in place, we now need to understand how we're going to actually scale this system. So there are 3 prerequisites to scaling beyond 6 figures per month. The first is your mindset. Generally, people are held back by the fact that they're scared to spend money on ads, or they're prioritizing lifestyle over their business. Secondly is dialing in your offer. Most of the time, at least according to Jeremy and from my own experience, it tends to be the fact that people just don't charge enough for their services. businesses, and therefore they need to sign thousands and thousands of clients just to hit $1 million. And then finally, they need a strong team. You need to have good closers and a sales manager at the very least in order to scale to multiple 6 figures or 7 figures per month. But then once these 3 things are satisfied, which is easier said than done, you then encounter what we call scaling blockers. These broadly sit into 2 categories. One is that you are too overly reliant on a singular acquisition method. So you are only using one funnel, for example, the VSL call funnel. You are only using one platform, so you're only advertising on Meta and not TikTok or Google. You're only making content on YouTube, or you're only making content on Instagram or TikTok. As a result, you aren't able to capture people through multiple channels. And when you become over-reliant, bad things also happen when that singular acquisition channel stops working. Now, on the other side is a problem with becoming obsessed with an extremely high ROAS, or return on ad spend. As soon as you start seeing campaigns that have 10x ROAS, 15x ROAS, you start to become obsessed with this idea that you can never go back down to the 5x, the 4x, the 3x. But this is almost inevitable when it comes to scaling. And so you end up in the split testing hell where rather than scaling and spending more on your ads, you are so obsessed with getting an extremely high ROAS that you never actually increase your spend. But once we've overcome all of these blockers, we can now actually start undertaking the scaling steps. One is identifying the most ROAS positive options that you have available. Second is spending more money on those options, which of course is very obvious, but a lot of people do not do it. Third, you have to deal with the bottlenecks that will inevitably arise. So that could be hiring new closers, hiring a new sales manager, testing new ad campaigns, overcoming ad fatigue, improving the quality of your content, and so on. And then fourth, you need to verify success. So what that means is once you have actually dealt with the bottleneck, you need to give it enough time so that you can actually verify whether that problem has been solved or not. It's impossible for you to tell whether your new closers are better than your old ones within just 1 week of data. It's impossible for you to tell whether one ad campaign is doing better than another if your sales cycle is 2 to 3 weeks, but you've only been running those ads for 72 hours. Of course, if they are successful, then you need to be spending more money. And if they aren't successful, then you have other bottlenecks to deal with. So as I explained earlier, if you are an info business owner and you want this Tornado ad strategy set up for you, then my links will be in the description. And if you like this style of content or you found it valuable, please let me know in the comments. And I'll see you next time.